Thank you for watching Policy and Prejudice. My name is Chris Stevenson. This week was a very bad week for supporters and family of Troy Davis. Mr. Davis met his end last Wednesday. I think the Supreme Court played with his life a little too often and didn't take his case seriously enough. Thanks to people like Scalia and Clarence Thomas, they've been showing signs of that over the last several years over several different cases. This is not good. I think the two of them should be removed. What happened to Mr. Davis is a terrible thing. I think it's a big program of stubbornness and brainwashing that has permeated in these death row cases throughout the years. Imagine that you can come up with the evidence that Troy Davis had, plus the witnesses. Nine witnesses, 7 out of 9, recanting their testimony against it because they admitted to being pressured by police. How can you ignore that and still say this guy has to die? One of the things that took place back in 08, I think it was 08 or 09, was when Supreme Court Chief Justice Antonin Scalia made a statement saying that actual proof or evidence that comes later on after a trial does not mean the person shouldn't be put to death or released from prison. This is a horrible statement. Obviously, it was going to be a key one, and one that inspired the right to keep doing what they were doing. It doesn't have to be a complete loss, however. I'm proposing what I call a Troy Davis law, or a Troy Davis bill. I even gave it a number, HR92111, or I should say HR92111. That's to coincide with the date of his execution. What this bill will do is abolish the death penalty permanently. So I don't care if you got the grand dragon of the Ku Klux Klan as president in a few years. There's nothing he could do to bring it back. It has to start right now with petitions. I do believe that we can bring it about. I'm very much in favor of this, because right now, even though I'm not in complete disagreement with the death penalty, I highly disagree with the people who run it. The people who run it are not calling it down the middle. They're going by their little hang-ups and their little biases and their partisanism, whatever the case may be, and they are running with it. A lot of this is outrage towards President Obama, especially in the case of people like Rick Perry. I'm not against the death penalty when it comes to the execution of one of the men who dragged James Byrd to his death, such as happened this week also. A lot of people don't know that, but he's the exception. The only bad part about that execution is that it was still a left-handed stab against blacks, because now blacks in Texas are not going to have the right to have their own, to request their own meals before death. So, it's a horrible travesty any way you cut it. But keep that in mind. I think we should start some discussion on this and make HR 92111 a reality. Call it the Troy Davis bill. That's the best we can do right now, and that way he will not have died in vain. His death will be giving life to a completely new measure and bringing back sanity, at least some amount of sanity, to criminal sentences. Right now, we have to go back to the way it was, especially back when you had people like Thurgood Marshall on the court. You have to remove Clarence Thomas as well as Scalia from that. Even at just two dissenting people, they still have influence. People look up to them. People basically go by whatever they say. And in the case of Scalia, he says anything that comes off the top of his head and people follow it. This is not good. This death row is a waste of money. It's a waste of time. And the thing about it, I could go on all night long about the prison system. Black people did not originate the prison system. You had law and order back in ancient Africa and places like this, ancient Egypt. Back then, you were certain about who did what, and you put them to death. But you didn't. It didn't cost no millions or billions of dollars or whatever it was, even in proportion to what the inflation was or what the cost of living was back then. So, like I said before, keep it in mind. The Troy Davis Bill, HR92111. My name is Chris Stevenson. Thank you for watching Policy and Prejudice. You have a good week.